Is it recording in progress? Is it off?
Recording.
Is it bright? It's green? Testing 1, 2. And then already.
Mayor Harvey? Mayor Harvey, can you hear us?
May.
Mayor Harvey Davis,
This
can
one
you
they-
hear us?
This one was posted, Gail.
Mayor Harvey, can you hear us?
Yep.
I believe you're on mute.
Sorry, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. At 6:38, we'll be starting in the next minute or so. We're just checking that everyone who is available to join us is already seated or on the call.
You know,
Okay, so we're gonna start in just about 1 minute. Roxanne, what I'm gonna do is mute my phone. And if you have a question, just go ahead and let me know you're on speaker, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
that's not,
Okay,
take roll, pledge allegiance. And
thank you. It's 6:38 PM. We apologize for the delay. We're having some technical issues today. It's June 5th. We're having our City of Hayes Special City Council meeting today. We will do the call to order and roll call, beginning with myself, Lydia Bryan Valdez, Councilwoman and Mayor Pro Tem.
Candace Blake, Gail Hudgens,
Tony Valdez,
Cynthia McCall,
And City Attorney Josh Katz.
okay, and
Roxanne, we're doing roll call now. We're doing roll call, thank you. And Roxanne O'Neill is on via phone. For the record, we'll do our pledge of allegiance next.
United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rule, item number 3 is public comments. We did receive 4 requests to provide public comments. We are taking them in order as they were received. I do have an email from Carol Pennington. She did send in her letter for public comments. Well, since she submitted hers yesterday, she'll be number 1. Mr. Jim Camp, number 2, Mr. Keith Whittington, number 3, Ms. Michelle Camp, number 4. And thank you for being here with us today. We'll start the clock. We'll have 3 minutes for public comments. And if anyone has any questions or rebuttal or what have you after that, be glad to grant additional time. To enter into record, public comment for today's meeting, June 5th, was provided by Carol Pennington. And she says, I'm not able to attend the special city. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna unmute myself then. Sorry about that. I just didn't want it to overlap. Okay, Carol Pennington provided public comments. I'm going to read her comments first. Mr. Jim Camp will be second, Mr. Keith Whittington third, and Ms. Michelle Camp fourth. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Carol Pennington says she's not able to attend the special city council meeting on June 5th. I would like for my comment to be read aloud and recorded as public comment. And she said, according to the Hayes City Code subdivision regulations, chapter 92-16, the requirements for a single family lot are minimum lot size of 1 acre with 18% impervious cover. According to the Hayes County Development Regulations, Chapter 5.05, the minimum lot size requirements within the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone varies depending on the water supply system and wastewater service. The smallest lot size is 3/4 acre. If there's a public groundwater system and TCEQ permitted public wastewater system. So according to these regulations, all home sites should be no smaller than 3/4 acre. Minimum lot size is 1 acre or larger for other types of water supply systems and wastewater service. All of the property of this proposed development, except a small sliver of land along 1626 at SH 45 Southwest, is in the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone. I have provided a map indicating this to you before. All of the proposed milestone housing locations are over the recharge zone and must follow all regulations relating to the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone. All of the neighborhoods between Bliss Filler and State Highway 967 consist of large lot sizes, with the smallest being ½ acre, which was okay at the time. So by following the Hayes County Development Regulations, the milestone lots should not be smaller than 3/4 acre. Following the Hayes City Code, the lots should be minimum 1 acre. If the lot sizes were 1.5 acres, they could have a public groundwater system and individual or private wastewater systems. Then a TLAP would not be needed. That is what all of us out here have, our own septic systems, and it has been working great for more than 40 years. I would accept no less than this arrangement. Please be strong and stand up to this developer. Thank you, Carol Pennington.
And where does she live?
Jim,
She lives in Chaparral Park,
Chaparral Park.
one of the bird streets. Mockingbird.
That's right, or the Bird Streets. Our next public comment will come from Mr. Jim Camp. And Mr. Katz will mark the time, 3 minutes, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay. The Pro Tem Council members, thank you for having us. I would say probably in the last year, we've had a change of council, and since then, we've seen more transparency. We've seen good governance. You've upgraded your website, made it more apparent to people about what City of Hayes is doing. And you answered a lot of our questions when we brought, the concerns about this development, as stated by Ms. Pennington. We thank you for that. You listened to scientists, you listened to engineers, you listened to the people. And we live in your ETJ. I live in Southwest Territory, just north of Chaparral Park, and we're part of the ETJ. By the way, before I go on, some of the best news I heard this week was Mayor Harvey was successful in his surgery, the second one.
Yes.
And so
It's actually this fourth.
four.
On the line, I know.
So I've never met you, but I'm pleased that you're on the council and look forward to working with you. But I want to say that we are going to be involved with the TCQ hearings on the MUD and the TLAP. We have reached out to the Commissioner's Court, Hayes County Commissioner's Court. We've reached out to people in the community, both elected officials and just common everyday folk like us. We want to participate. We want to make sure that our new neighbors, Mr. Garrett Martin and Milestone, they're welcome, but we want them to do the right thing. And you kind of know what that is. That's responsible development, lower impervious cover, better wastewater solutions than those are offering. And I think that at the end of the day, we can have something that we're all proud of and can work well in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The third person to provide public comments this evening will be Mr. Keith Whittington. Mr. Whittington, you'll be granted 3 minutes. Whenever you're ready, sir. Mr. Katz is marking the time.
Thank you. Came to speak. I am Keith Whittington. I live at 13511 Carpenter Lane. My property is going to be impacted by at least what has been proposed previously by Milestone. Now that that development agreement has been terminated and we're into a new era, I think it's important that the City of Hayes understands that any development that might occur that would allow an exit onto a substandard private lane would be inappropriate. My concerns, if Milestone is coming back to the City of Hayes with some new ideas, my concerns would be that any and all negotiations start with a blank slate and not going back to a previous agreement, including the initial agreement, which was to develop under a previous statute of development. So I believe that's section 212 or something like that. That needs to be, again, not part of these new negotiations, if that is in fact what is going on behind the scenes. I think it's also incumbent that we recall that over the last couple of years, we've talked about, and we think that what would be appropriate now is certainly, you're coming back to the table, let's use best practices, right? We have night and sky rules that are really critical to bird habitat. We have tree protection rules. We have respect for the rural character of the land in which this is going to be developed. There certainly could be, for the city of Hayes, opportunities for sales tax, commercial development, wealth creation that would help the city into the future. But I think it's incumbent to maybe think about what's in it for the citizens of Hayes. Is there an opportunity for dedicated parkland? Is there an opportunity to create some kind of amenities that would be part of the development as that development continues or basically is built out? Also, just adhering to the Hayes County development standards and the Hayes City development standards, as Carol's note has pointed out, I think that's important. No prior statute carve-outs, verbiage covered, keeping in, the TCEQ wastewater treatment issue is obviously its own separate animal. But certainly effluent being sprayed near a neighbor's home is not really indicative of good development and being good to your neighbors. I would suggest something, minimally 500 feet from any neighbor's home or something, so that you don't have that immediate effect. But I would just wish that whatever negotiations happen, that you all take those kinds of things into consideration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Our fourth presenter this evening for public comments will be Ms. Michelle Camp. Thank you, ma'am, for taking the time to be here this evening. We will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Katz will mark your time whenever you're ready.
Great. Good evening. My name is Michelle Camp, and I'm a board member of the Save Barton Creek Association, or SBCA. SBCA has steadily expanded our mission scope over the years, and we now work to protect streams and water quality throughout Central Texas, not just Barton Creek. Specifically, we've become well versed in the harms that wastewater can cause to natural water quality. Thus, we've opposed numerous wastewater permit applications throughout Central Texas, and we're opposing Milestone's mud and TLAP permit applications for the Hayes Commons development. We believe that the sewage produced by this development, as currently proposed, would cause unacceptable damage to Little Bear Creek and the Edwards Aquifer recharge zone. I think it's worth reiterating just a couple of the ways in which this damage could occur. One, wastewater runoff from an irrigation field can happen when equipment is inadequately maintained. TLAP systems are designed to include monitoring equipment to prevent the excess application of wastewater on fields that can't handle it. In practice, this monitoring equipment frequently has failures due to the lack of proper maintenance. Wastewater discharge plants have more rigorous monitoring practices, yet SBCA found in our Hill Country Sewage Scorecard that 82% of these plants exceeded at least one of their permit pollutant limits during the 3-year study period. It's safe to assume that smaller TLAP facilities have experienced a similar, if not greater, rate of failure. And number two, treated wastewater can seep into an aquifer through recharge features. The unique karst limestone structure of the Edwards Aquifer means that there's very little filtering of the water. Again, the track record for discharge plants doesn't inspire confidence that TLAP plants will always release the cleanest possible wastewater. TCEQ includes limits on the amount of E. coli bacteria that can remain in wastewater after treatment, but again, many discharge plants exceed this limit. In SBCA sewage scorecard, 25 plants out of 48 analyzed, or 52%, exceeded their E. coli limit at least once during the study period. It's worth mentioning that E. coli isn't a problem by itself. It's measured because it's a marker that indicates the presence of other fecal pathogens. In addition, there's the problem of contaminants of emerging concern. There's a broad category that includes pharmaceuticals, personal care products, and hormone disrupting medications. All of these substances are present in wastewater because of the way people use them and because they're not removed by any treatment process. I'll conclude by emphasizing my personal views as a Northern Hayes County native who grew up on Little Bear Creek who learned how to swim in Barton Springs Pool, who regularly drinks from a well near this proposed development, and who's received a master's degree in environmental management and water science. We know the interconnectedness and threats to our Edwards Aquifer water system, and we depend on this resource every single day, so we must protect it. My last statement is that Milestone only cares about their financial goals and will be gone once they complete this development, leaving our community to deal with the devastating consequences. I urge this council to stand your ground and demand better for your community because safer wastewater alternatives exist. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to present today. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is a new business. Thank you. We're going to discuss and possibly take action regarding a request received from the Milestone Development Group. We will go into executive session. The council will convene an executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to deliberate upon and seek legal advice. Pursuant to Section 551.07, we will be consulting with our attorney, Mr. Joshua Katz. We're going into executive session. We'll be back. For those that are available on via Zoom, we'll be back shortly. It's 6:55 p.m.
Hey, Jim, can you hear me? Yeah, you don't have the sound on for me. Thank you.
Okay, I'll repeat the last message. I'll be right there, sir. I'm gonna repeat that. Roxanne? Okay, I'm gonna repeat the last part, so that we're on record. That we were on Zoom. We weren't muted on Zoom, but we were muted with our mic here in City Hall. So I'm just gonna repeat the last segment real quick. It's 7:48 PM, our council meeting. We were in executive session. We came back into open session at 7:45. City council, city secretary, and Mr. Joshua Katz, our city attorney, met in executive session to discuss item number 4, which is new business. We were to discuss and possibly take action regarding a request received from the Milestone Development Group. We're now back in open session, and Councilwoman Candace Blake would like to file a motion. And we'll be doing that now.
Okay, I would make a motion that we direct our city attorney to set up a meeting between the city of Hayes, Milestone, and the city of Austin to discuss the city of Austin providing wastewater and water services to Hayes Common Development.
Thank you. We're now going to take a vote.
Need a second.
Oh, we need a second. I'm sorry. We need a second to that motion. Councilman Valdez. Tony Valdez has seconded that motion, Roxanne. Thank you. We'll now take a vote.
Do we have an opportunity to say anything?
Yes, I'm sorry, sir. Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Yes, please, sir. Would you like to comment on this?
For the record, could you explain what the request is and what incentives, if any, Milestone has offered the city for what I understand is a letter of support?
Give me just 1 second, if I may. Are we
I'd like
allowed to
you to-
discuss in the executive session?
Um,
Open session?
We can't discuss what advice you were given in executive session or what advice you asked for. But if you want me to discuss essentially what has been presented to the city, I can.
Please do so.
Okay. Mayor Harvey, the request from Milestone, they have represented that they are seeking water and sewer service from the city of Austin. They have represented that they're close to getting an agreement with the city of Austin for water and sewer service. They want the city of Hayes to express not support for their development, not support for what they're planning to do with the property, but that if there is to be development on that site, that water and sewer would come from the city of Austin rather than from drilling water wells and building a wastewater treatment plant with a TLAT facility. So that is what the motion on the table is, to direct me to set up a meeting between City of Austin, Milestone, and City of Hayes representatives to find out what Austin wants, what Austin intends to do, and what they want to hear from the City of Hayes.
And were there any incentives that Milestone offered the city of Hayes?
That Austin offered City of Hayes? I haven't had any conversations with City of Austin.
Milestone.
That Milestone.
For any incentives.
No, I don't believe so.
And can I still ask another question, Mayor?
course, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
In general, as far as you know, the development code for the city of Austin, would they address the concerns of our friends on Carpenter Ranch Road?
My understanding is that if City of Austin were to provide service to the Hayes Commons development, then the City of Austin subdivision ordinance would apply to the development, and the City of Austin Save Our Springs ordinance would apply to the development. But it is likely that Hayes Commons is seeking some sort of, additional impervious cover exception from the Save Our Springs ordinance. But I have no knowledge about whether City of Austin is inclined to do that or not.
Thank you. Can I say something else, Mayor Pro
Please,
Tem?
sir. Yes, please. Thank you.
It appears that the motion sounds like a real good decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your comments and your input. Appreciate it.
But
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? And may I ask our guests if they have any comments?
You may, usually comments come at the beginning of the meeting, but you're the
Just
presiding,
regarding.
you're the presiding officer of the meeting, so you can take comments
Thank you,
whenever you
sir.
want.
Briefly, any of our guests, do you have any comments? 2 minutes.
In this proposed meeting with Mr. Katz and City of Boston, will there be milestone representatives?
yes,
But there won't be any meeting unless all three of us are in the room discussing the request, milestone request for alert to the Hayes.
And at some point, will the city engineer as well as the city attorney, and the policymakers, you all, be involved in kind of the more finer points of the negotiation? Or is this?
I intend to be at the meeting. I intend to be in whatever meeting take place.
We requested that Mr. Katz and 2 representatives from the city of Hayes go to the city of Austin with the milestone representatives, all of us in person to discuss their request to receive water and wastewater services from the city of Austin. We'd like to do that in person versus providing a letter stating we offer our full support.
And one other thing, this last question I'll ask is, I guess the city of Hayes and others are, that have sought party status with the mud and then the future hearings with the T-Lab. Is any of that contingent on what the city of Hayes, will or will not do in terms of opposition?
No,
No, these are separate matters.
they're separate matters.
They're all separate from what I gather. Each one is a separate thing. Mr. Whittington, do you have any comments? Ms. Camp? Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We'd like to now take a vote on the motion that was filed by Councilwoman Blake and seconded by Mr. Valdez. The vote, please. Dr. Hudgens, how do you vote?
4.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye,
Yay.
thank you. Roxanne, how do you vote, ma'am? Approved. 4 in favor, 1 abstain, please, Cynthia.
Okay.
The motion passes. 4 in favor of and 1 abstain. No against. And on that note, we complete. Yes, Mayor Harvey. Yes, sir. Do you have a question or is your hand raised?
Who abstained?
Oh, I did, sir. I'm not allowed to vote at this time while serving as Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
Julie,
All
I'd
right.
like to vote, but I can't today. Does anyone else have any questions?
Thank you.
Any comments? No? It is 7:56 PM. We'll go to item number 6 and adjourn the meeting. At 7:56 PM, thank you everyone for your input, for your comments, for your support. Thank you. We'll be logging off Zoom at 7:56. Thank you so much, Mr. Katz. Thank you, Roxanne. We appreciate you.
I'll let